So this is the drawing that was sent with that for 18,952,324 patent number. And the reality of it is that all the numbers that are being used in the United States of America, at least, are completely counterfeit. They have no basis in reality at all, and the consequence of that is there's just no point in fighting for them if it's not real. So, and that, of course, the world has their own level of that. World derivatives are at $1.2 quadrillion or so. And, human population is rising, and all kinds of things exist that mean that, or that point to the evidence that our planet itself will not survive. And if our planet will not survive, there's just no point in fighting for things that have no value, and fighting for realities that have little chance to make a difference, because the world is likely to end. And you can say, well, I don't believe in the math, and I don't believe in the evidence, and I don't believe in this, and I don't believe in that. But of course, you do believe in the university as God. They claim to be God. They're the experts of everything. But of course, the university is actually the maker of everything that is wrong. You could say that because they claim everything that's right. So the end result of it is that we have to make decisions of our own. We have to use redress. We have to declare bankruptcy and control our bankruptcy as we the people, not allowing anyone else to do it. We have the right. It's our nation. It's our currency. It's our securities. They sold it all. They threw it all away. They infiltrated insurgencies and so on. The universities searched the world for the best that could be for their leadership. And of course, that brought all kinds of people from the world, and they chose their group. And they chose to destroy the nation. But nobody destroyed it more than the people who are benefiting from their investment in Wall Street. Where do you think all the money goes? How do you think they launder the money? They give it to you so that you say, I'm great. This is mine. It's all good. But of course it's not. It means the nation is dead. It means the future is dead. You crucify the children, and worst of all, the reality of university is that they're completely mutilating and crucifying nature itself. Nature is genetics, the builders of life. That's the body of life, and they're injecting all kinds of chaos into it, claiming evolution will fix whatever they break. They're actually, literally, trying to use the same method that they used for trying to figure out bridges. We'll just keep loading it down, keep pushing it until it breaks, and that way we know what we need to fix now to make this not break. And of course, when they do that to nature, when they do that to the bodies of life, when the body of life destroys itself, or is destroyed because of what they did, they can't put it back together. They figure that they will, but it'll be a plague, a disease, this or that will not be put back together. They are simply destroying life. And we call them Satan for that, destroying life for a world. That means, how horrible can you be? And when you're as horrible as you can be, you just call it Satan. And of course, they're trying to ignite the same fire that's on the sun here on this earth. There is no going back from that. It's an atomic fire. It's simply an atomic fire. That's what it is. The energy from atoms comes from the bond between, or comes from the spinning proton. There is no such thing as it's magic. It's not magic. It's kinetic energy. And the little bitty mass that's in there is called a proton. Is spinning at such an enormous rate of speed that you can't comprehend it. But nonetheless, math with speed equals a force. And that's where the force is. But of course, they won't admit to that. And, the solar gravity is the neutron that bounces that, or is the opposite of that holds it in place, so that time, which is the electrons that go through it, can just get a little bit of that speed off of it a little bit at a time. And we use that for the motion that we carry across this time. But the end result of it is that that we are in a crisis, whether you believe it or not, because it doesn't matter what you believe. You can believe anything you want. You can believe anything you want. Doesn't matter. What matters is that truth will decide what the future will be, or truth will decide what eternity will be. Truth will decide who you are. Truth will decide who you are, and so you cannot avoid that. Truth is what it is. So we can't lie about it, and we have to look at it, and when we look at it, we know that 100 million or more children are being born every year, added to the population, which means we have to feed them. They need water, they need something else, something else. Want more. And there's no way that we can sustain that. There's no way that you can sustain a planet that's being overrun and polluted and poisoned, and every resource ransacked and raped and thrown away, and the ocean's dead soon. Literally dead soon. And that means people will starve and so on. So, there's really no point in being carried away with even, an invention. So what? So what? Because the reality of extinction is far more real than you believe. You can believe anything you want, but the evidence says that the end of the time on Earth is pretty close. No, I don't know what day that is, and it's not given to me. I can just point to the evidence, say all these threats surround us. And that means that we have a little choice left. We can choose to change. We can choose to correct what we do. We can choose to protect life on Earth. We can choose to be realistic about wages and what we do, or not. And of course, or not is the choice that you have made all these years. So your fault. But the end result is that we have to do something. If we don't do something, we're just going to have everything collapse around us. It will be hell, and of course that means war, and war means weapons of mass destruction, and all that. And of course, Mexico City, 22 million people is running out of water. They know they're running out of water. They're not doing anything about it. They're just running out of water, forcing people out because, by using the price to force them out. The price of water. Only the rich get to stay. So they have to come across the American border because, it's get water or die. And so there will be wars for water and all kinds of things that you don't want to contend with, or you don't want to believe, because you just don't want to believe that, and you like it the way it is. But of course it can't stay the way it is, because you have ransacked and raped and ruined everything. If you have a limited amount of food in your closet or whatever, in your kitchen to eat for the winter, and you run out of that food, and there is no more food, then you have to starve. Because that's how it is. That's what reality means. There is no just fantasy. There is no delusion like the university claims. There are consequences for everything you do. We have to accept that. We have to understand that, and we have to live within the limits and boundaries of what those consequences are, so that we can actually survive as a world. There's no place to run. It's a world. There's no place to hide. They're trying to ignite the earth into a sun. They say they can't, but, the end result is that they're playing with things they do not understand. They're fantasizing about things that they do not, pure delusion. They're denying laws that exist and creating just, give us money. Trillions of dollars worth of money, because we say so, because they're the expert. But it's a university thing, and of course the university only has a very, very few experts, and everybody else has to memorize and obey what they say. It's a religion of its own. There's only one leader. Everybody accepts whatever the leader says, and that's that. Just like in America today, with COVID. It's a common cold. But the end result is you can believe what you want, and of course they did release a biological agent against us because they're trying to find a method of releasing a biological agent that will kill the rest of the people and leave them standing if they could only find the right vaccine. And of course they did not find the right vaccine for that, and you know, all of the evidence they produced was completely tampered with. And the end result is that you believe, and of course once you fear, then you believe. And if you believe, then you have to obey. So the world becomes, you know, just a cult-ridden excuse for stupidity. So anyway, the net result is that it would be best if you would organize and become united as we the people again, so that we can, you know, enforce our democracy and take back control of our nation over the universities that are the expert, that know everything, that, you know, tell the people what they shall vote on. They don't vote for themselves. They listen, or they have, you know, students that go out and talk to the university and say, this is what the university says. But the university only says whatever it is that the elite tell them to say. And then, of course, the media enforces that as if it were God. And the courts enforce that as they are God. And the governments decide for themselves as if the university expert is God. And that's, of course, how we get trillions of dollars spent on experiments that have no value. Experiments to ignite the sun on fire. Experiments in evolution says, you know, we can mutilate and play God with nature. But of course, if you have, you know, if everything that we love about life, everything that you love about your body, everything that you love about, you know, the opposite gender, everything is dependent upon nature and the genetic code that keeps it in place. So if they change it, you know, they believe that chaos built nature, so that if they add a case of chaos into it, then it doesn't matter. But that ain't so. You know, you got 200 and some odd bodies, and they all built themselves, and they all grew together, and they all created joint muscles, and they all created knees, and they all created ankles and feet, and all of that, a skull that you grew in a womb. 600 and some odd muscles that wove themselves in and out of all the areas and every possible connection, you know, that they made. Think about it for a second. It is nothing chaos about it. Absolutely nothing accidental about it. Evolution is the biggest lie ever told, basically. But of course they have so much competition from university as God. And of course they're just fools. Fantasies and delusions. And you say, well, the computer. But the computer is actually aiding them and abetting them in the destruction of life on Earth. I can't do a lot of the things they do today without the computer. And of course yeah, medicine is the same. We wouldn't have overpopulation without medicine. And of course, if you look at all the medicine, all the lawsuits about medicine, all the problems about medicine that come into the court when they can come into the court, and then of course we have all the lawyers who steal all the money and just use the victim for an excuse. And you know, it's really pretty endless. It's America without a soul. And soul means that you understand, you accept the idea that life is a body of miracles. The planet is a miracle. It is that miracle that gives us a soul, or it is that miracle that allows us to believe there is something more here than just what you see or what you feel. We have a creator, in other words. And it's absolutely obvious that we do have a creator, because you know that you can't build a life. I know I can't build a life. You know that you can't heal your body. You know that you can't regulate the temperature of your body. You can't do any of it. You can't think. You can't do any of it. You can't see. All of it is a gift to you. And you don't respect any of that, because the universe has taught you to disrespect everything. They've taught you to be without a brain. They've taught you to believe whatever it is they tell you. And media has reinforced that. And of course, if it wasn't so, we wouldn't be in this shape that we are in, which is threats all around, extinction coming quickly. You can believe what you want, but the end result is that truth will decide. And soon we will be all starving, and soon we'll be fighting for water, and soon we'll be, at war at everybody's throat, because, that's just how it will be. You wreck the world, and you wreck the oceans, and you wreck the temperature of the world, and everything. You chose. And you should get what you chose, right? You want what you want.